Hey guys, this is Chris with Half Chrome. Today I'm going to talk about the Sony RX0 2 or two eyes, available from Sony with a 1-inch sensor and putting that guy onto an FPV racer. This guy enabled with the latest DJI technology, compatible with these dudes here, the DJI racing goggles, digital feed, can't beat it. But enough about the DJI drone. Let's talk a little bit more about this camera. It's got a 1-inch sensor. I have 1-inch sensors on some of my other drones, Mavic 2 Pro. I've got these sensors on my slow-moving gimbal-stabilized drones. Why don't I have them on my FPV racer? Well, now I do. With this, you can have a camera that is better suited for those twilight shots, perhaps getting some less grainy footage. The GoPro, definitely not famous for its low light capability. Now, what is this crazy stuff I have in front of it? I'm going to tell you more about that when I come back. Welcome back. I want to remind you guys, please subscribe if you haven't already, and use those links in the description. If you're interested in any of these products, clicking on those just really helps us out. It keeps us doing what we're doing. So a little bit more about the camera and the lens. So first off, if you don't know anything about the Sony RX0 one is it has Zeiss optics. Another, it has this really nice flip-up screen. Now you're going to have to pay extra to get that on your GoPro. Not that this guy comes cheap. Now what's really cool about this is what I have in front of it. And this is a Moondog Labs Anamorphic Lens. What an anamorphic lens does, if you're not familiar, is it's kind of a cylindrical lens. It's going to stretch the horizontal field of view, which kind of makes everything look smushed, and then you stretch it out in post-processing. And that gets you to that cinematic extra wide aspect ratio. It takes your normal 16:9 and stretches it out further, expanding the field of view and getting you some really cool effects that are just in almost every movie you see now. And one of those is the horizontal lens flares that you see. Once you know that they're there, you will see them everywhere. Go watch Star Wars, go watch pretty much anything nowadays. You're going to see horizontal lens flares all over the place. Now to show you real quick what that looks like, I'm going to show you on the lens I'm filming with now, which is another Moondog Labs lens, just on my iPhone. Here's what that looks like. You see my little setup there. Moondog Labs was really the first to really make a name for the iPhone as a cinematic camera. Adding these lenses, if you've seen an independent film, they say it was filmed on an iPhone, 9 times out of 10 it probably had this Moondog Labs lens in front of it, or another one from Moondog Labs. Now to show you those horizontal lens flares, I'm just going to douse the lights real quick. As you can see, you get these really nice horizontal lens flares going across. You can see a little bit of distortion, curvature in those flares sometimes, all standard characteristics of an anamorphic lens. Okay, so great, we got the lens flares, we got a little distortion sometimes. Now when we're flying in the bright sunlight, we're going to want to stick on the Moondog Labs ND filter. They've got a nice little adapter, and you can put on a variety of ND filters that they have available on their website. Alright, with my Sony, my Moondog Labs Anamorphic, and my ND filter, let's get out there and fly. I'm not going to be flying though. It's going to be Jack. He's our team expert in FPV flying. And we're going to have another pilot. I'm just going to call him the Stig, and you might understand why as you see some of this footage. You might think this camera looks a little front heavy. I designed this mount, and if I did it again, I'd probably push it back a little bit, keep it a little more balanced. We didn't necessarily tune this drone perfectly for this camera. You might see a little bit of shake at times. The Stig's drone does a little bit better in that regard. And we got some really cool stuff. You will see those horizontal lens flares in this footage, and some just awesome stuff too. Not anything that I could personally fly, but enjoy the footage. All right, guys, let us know what you think about this camera and the anamorphic lens. I can tell you, you really get used to that wide aspect ratio pretty quick in the footage that I'm collecting, and it's pretty nice. You know, it's cinematic. It's like what you see in the cinema, and you get those horizontal lens flares, and you just find yourself kind of hunting for those. How can I make this lens do that? Any bright light, you're going to get those really cool effects that you see in the movies. And so it's pretty fun to play with one of these cameras and one of these lenses, whether it's on an iPhone or whether it's on the Sony. The Sony is a little bit more expensive than a GoPro, and its internal stabilization doesn't quite hang if you really like using the Hypersmooth. But still a very interesting camera, and as you saw in that crash, also pretty robust. The lens and the camera holding up just fine. And if you're curious, this camera with the flip-up lens is actually waterproof. With the lens on there from Moondog, it isn't waterproof anymore, but we didn't have any issues bouncing around in the snow a little bit. So, as I said before, please subscribe. Let us know what you think about this camera in your comments. At the end of the day, I think, you know, FPV drones or Cinewhoops or getting cinematic footage out of these wonderful machines with a highly skilled pilot, we're going to just see more of that, and we're going to start seeing that stuff in bigger and bigger films, and we're going to need a better camera than a GoPro, so I think we're headed in the right direction here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.